and welcome to the Unsure to Unstoppable podcast. My name is James Dunn, and I was adopted. I grew up in a household with an alcoholic father, and I was arrested for attempted armed robbery when I was 17 years old. Why do I share that with you in this podcast introduction? Well, because while you may not have gone through any one of those specific set of circumstances yourself, you've had your own version of them, whether it's a loss of a job, a divorce, you were picked on as a kid. Something in your life has created this little voice in the back of your head that's made you doubt yourself, question yourself and what you're truly capable of. As a podcast host and as a mindset coach, what I do is I help you tell that little voice in the back of your head to shut the fuck up, get out of your own way, and move from unsure to unstoppable. And how I plan to do that is each week I'm going to bring you stories of inspiration, motivation, my own challenges, my own struggles, as well as those of others who've gone through challenging times, rough times, things that most people maybe just didn't think they could ever get through, but have not only gone through them, but come out thriving on the other side of them. And through the sharing of those stories, I hope to help you see that you're not alone in this journey called life. Whatever you've gone through, whatever challenges you're having right now, it doesn't matter. You are a fucking badass and you deserve an amazing, incredible life. And we're going to help you get there. So with that, enjoy today's show. Hello, and welcome back to the show. On today's episode, we'll talk about a really nasty F word. And if you know me well enough, you know that it ain't fuck, because fuck is a beautiful word. It's a wonderful word. So it's definitely not the fuck word, but it is an F word. It does have 4 letters. But the F word I want to talk about today is fear. Fear. Fear is bullshit. Let's just get that out of the way. Fear, there's this acronym, false evidence appearing real is what fear means. And, you can buy into that. You don't have to buy into it. For me, there's obviously certain things in life that we do need to be afraid of. But actually, I don't know if afraid is the right word. Fear is not necessarily the right word, but is be respectful of. So let's look at something like electricity. Electricity, you need to be very respectful of it because it can kill you. You need to be respectful of traffic. You don't want to step out in the middle of a speeding highway because you will get killed. Sadly, I just heard recently of somebody I know on Facebook. I started to say a friend, but just an acquaintance on Facebook who had their their daughter-in-law got killed recently by stepping out into traffic. Sadly, so sad news there, but obviously that's something we need to be respectful of. But do we need to fear it? No, we don't need to fear it. And I bring up this story because something happened recently in my life that made me remember. Why am I remembering a lot this week? I know the last episode we did talked about remembering something, but I guess this is what a lot of this mindset work is all about, is remembering things that we already know. We can say that we're learning things, but I think we already knew just about everything that you read in a book or see in a movie or hear on a podcast. Deep down, you already know. So when it resonates with you, you knew it. Somebody else is just expressing it in a way that resonates with you. And so I had an experience that helped me to remember that fear can make us miss out on so many beautiful and wonderful and amazing things. And that specific event was a life moment for my daughter. So she recently turned 15 years old, been taking driver's ed. It's crazy to think, but yes, she is in driver's ed and learning to drive. And she got to the point where now she's got her driver's permit, and they send home a little form and says, hey, parent or guardian or whoever you are, person for this child who's taking care of them and keeping them alive, it is your responsibility to get out there and drive with them for 50 hours. In addition to anything that we're going to do inside the school in terms of, getting out there with a teacher and driving in the, driver's ed vehicle, you need to go out yourself and teach this person how to drive for 50 hours minimum. Now, coming up, when my daughter saw that she had driver's ed freshman year of high school, she was not excited. As classes started, she was not excited. And even when she got her driver's permit, she wasn't real excited. And when we made it a point to go out and start that first driving lesson, she wasn't like super gung ho. And now I just have to pause here for a second and say, I didn't get this at all. This made zero sense to me, like none, because I grew up ready Dude, when the first fucking day, I promise you that I was available to go do any kind of driving, with my parents, with anybody, get my driver's license, I was there. I was on it. I was ready for that freedom, that ability just to go off and do my things. I don't know if it was just growing up in the country and already spending countless hours driving a tractor around, and not like the big giant tractor you see in cornfields, things like that. But my family, we owned 3 acres of land. Actually, we still own it. We own 3 acres of land. And so mowing that was done with a bush hog, which had a 6 foot wide mowing deck, pulled behind a small tractor. So, I mean, I'd driven that thing for hours and hours and hours and hours. So I already had a solid feel for turning the wheel, the brake on the side. It didn't have an accelerator. The accelerator was on the column. So that was a little different. But I mean, I at least had some understanding of the basics of driving a motorized vehicle. And so I wasn't nervous. I mean, I'd driven it down the road into town, all kinds of things like that. You're used to it. I'd driven three wheelers. Again, motorized vehicles, completely comfortable. So when my opportunity was there, I was on it. But back to my daughter, she was not. She has not grown up in that environment. She's grown up in the city, a little more, residential area where we don't have, three wheelers to ride. We don't have a lawnmower that she can ride around on, any of these things. So it was definitely a very different experience for her. Now, once we got out there, though, here's what I thought was amazing. Once we got into the car, started driving, and she got a chance to actually experience it, get past that fear, just go ahead and lean into it and go. She fucking loved it. She thought it was the coolest thing ever. She was actually got to a point where it was, I don't want to stop driving. Can I drive us home? And then when's the next time we can take some lessons? When's the next time we can go out here? But what it was that initial fear of what was going to happen, that fear of, oh my gosh, I don't know, this is this big giant car. I see all the cars all the time. Her mother is actually a very timid driver, very cautious driver, does not drive in big cities, will not drive after dark, all these things. And so I think a lot of that had kind of creeped into her mind of what the driving experience was going to be like. But once again, she had the chance to go out there and try it for herself, it was a completely different experience. And this happens so often in life. We build up this big, scary, ugly, nasty monster around whatever it is that we're wanting to do, something that's really cool that we'd probably love to do, but we're so afraid of it because the unknown is so scary. It's like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Maybe I'm going to go out there, I'm going to look stupid. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to do it. All of these things start going through our heads. But once we are able to just trust ourselves, believe in ourselves, and lean into this thing called fear and just do it, just try it, then we realize, wait a minute, most, if not all of these things that I was afraid of weren't really there. It's false evidence appearing real. So this fear of, oh my God, this is this big giant car, I'm not going to know how to do it. Oh my God, I don't know how to turn a car. Oh my God, how do I back up? Oh my God. All of these things we figured out by trying it, by moving, by taking action. And so that's what I want you to do is the next time you find yourself stuck or paralyzed in this fear, afraid to try something, just lean into it. Ask yourself, what's one small step I can take towards this goal? What's one small step that I can take to face this head on? Because things are always going to come up that scare us, that challenge us, that push us. They're going to get us outside of our comfort zone. And if we want to live the life that I know you want to live, if you're listening to this fucking podcast, you want to live an amazing, incredible life. That is your goal. That's what you're striving for. If you want to live that life, you're going to have to learn to lean into that fear. You're going to have to learn to just look at it and say, you know what? I see you. I'm not pretending that you're not there. I'm just going to be willing to go ahead and move forward through this, because I know what I really, really want, the life that I'm striving for, is right on the other side of you. And I know you're not as big, ugly, scary of a monster as you're portraying yourself to be, or as I'm allowing you to pretend to be right now. So I challenge you. Again, when fear rears its ugly head, lean into it. Don't run from it. This is where your confidence gets built up, is by showing yourself over and over and over again that when scary things come up, you're not going to run from them. If it's a tornado, run from that motherfucker, or at least get somewhere where there's shelter and then check it out. You don't have to be a storm chaser. But even if you look at something as crazy as tornado, there are people that go out there and are storm chasers. They go towards the storms because, and I'm not going to suggest this for everybody, but because they have researched it, they've taken the precautions, they understand what to do, what not to do. They have faced that fear and leaned into it. And again, that's not something we all want to do, but there are things that people do that just boggle your mind, that they're willing to do it. And there's things that I fucking wouldn't even begin to try and do that I see people do, but they do it like it's no big thing because they have worked through that fear. That is something that they were wanting to do enough, that felt strongly enough about this, that they were willing to put in the work that wraps the understanding, the knowledge base, developing that to figure out how to do this without getting hurt, without killing themselves, without losing all their money, whatever the situation happens to be. They worked through those fears to get to themselves to this comfort level. And you can do the same, regardless of what it is you're fearing right now. If it's public speaking, put yourself where you're getting more comfortable with one-on-one conversations, and then maybe leading a conversation of 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, or just go out to an open mic night and do a comedy show, do something that challenges you, to test you, because the only way you'll ever get over these fears is to lean into them. I keep saying this over and over and over again, lean into them. You have a life that you want to live, and I want you to live it to the level that you deserve to live it. And it's only going to happen if you lean into that fucking fear. All right, get out there. Have an amazing fucking day, and I'll see you next time. If you found value in this episode, please share it with your friends. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and anywhere else that you happen to hear it. We are just trying to celebrate life, make it better for everyone, and sharing these messages with them just helps them believe in themselves and what can be better than that.